if there's a key objective here is for Congress to hammer out Bayanihan 3. Nagkaroon tayo ng 1 and 2, di ba? But ito, Bayanihan 3 talaga. But like I said, we are set to meet already on April. Let me check the date, para sigurado ako. So we're going to work throughout the break. So even as we speak now, nagzo-Zoom meeting kami with technical people, and then the first formal meeting read nung committee is of the large committee is on April 8th. So ako personally, ang vision ko dito is that we are going to pass Bayanihan 3. But unlike past Bayanihans, it's not just going to be a way to target direct subsidies to those who are in need. But ang difference dito sa Bayanihan 3 is that it provides us also an opportunity to be able to implement long-needed reforms. So the opportunity is already here for us to be able to implement long-needed reforms na nagkakaroon ng malalim na resistance dati. So first is, sa nakikita-kita ko lang is, on the direct subsidy program, meaning like with Bayanihan 1 and 2, the objective is not just, of course, the key objective is to identify and get from government, from DepDev, from DOF, from DSWD, from DOTR, to see what are the affected sectors as well as industries that require immediate attention. Pag sinabi natin immediate attention is that these are industries that will have deep threatening effects to the entire economy. So, kailangan natin makilala yon. At saka alin doon ang inflationary talaga. So that's one aspect. So part of it also is gathering available budget. Kung ano yung pwede natin ma-realign. Are there additional, are there savings that can be generated, that can already be declared? Lahat yun pag-uusapan. Hindi ko siya pangungunahan because ang sistema namin is from the mother committee, magbe-break up into several subcommittees yung mother committee kung ano yung specific field na pinag-uusapan. So I'll go back, no? So anong ini-envision ko, ako lang personally, it's a Bayanihan 3. So first is really having an ayuda program, identifying available cash, looking at the new sources, meaning you have a VAT windfall because nagtaas ang presyo ng bilihin, tumataas ang VAT. Kailangan makuha natin yung windfall na yon at maitulak siya, maibigay doon sa mga sectors where it is actually needed. Because, tax revenues are great, but they're only as great if they fall into the hands of those who need it. Hindi yung hawak siya ng gobyerno, na lumalaki yung pera ng gobyerno, yun ang ayaw natin. Pangalawa, meron tayong windfall dyan, yung usapin ng the BSP has been defending the peso in the last several weeks. So government has been selling its government reserves, no? To be able to do that, many of those reserves, ang bilyon at 54, 55 pesos. Ngayon, binibenta at 60 thereabouts. So may windfall din yan. Just, kumbaga, Red, sinasabi ko lang is, the first task is trying to map out where we can sweep additional funds without affecting current programs. So yun ang una. But the big difference here with the past Bayanihan, sa nakikita ko lang is hindi siya po pwede na ayuda program lang. I think it's a wake-up call to us today na yung ating, we don't have a clear, electronic, and well-targeted distribution system. Wala tayo. Ngayon, kailangan magpakita yung mga tao, kailangan na pumunta ng personal. So wala talaga tayong yung electronic or digitized subsidy system. Ano yung sabihin nun? Isang hakbang ito. Meaning, Bayanihan 3, in my mind, is not only gathering funds so that you can have a youth program, but actually developing a system whereby you have an electronic subsidy program. Ano yung sabihin nun? Nakakabit siya sa national ID. Practically everyone's a national ID. Hindi lang doon nai-integrate yung kanyang economic profile or anong industriya siya. Siya ba'y mangingisda? Siya ba'y magsasaka? Siya ba ay nasa transport service? Siya ba ay TODA within that service? So, yun ang mga kailangan. Ito yung we have to take this opportunity kasi hindi tayo pabalik-balik na each time may subsidy, naghahanap tayo ng panibagong listahan. And most of the time, kinukuha natin sa LGU. So, this is really one of the tasks, no? So, and then secondly is, really on the resiliency is how do we, the bigger step or the long term is, how do you prepare our government and our economy so we can be more resilient when this problem takes place again? Because this problem will happen again. Why? Because it is something we have no control over. Ibig sabihin, magkagera sa ibang bansa, in the Middle East, apektado na naman tayo. So how do we prepare the country so that it can survive? And in fact, it can be barely affected whenever or if ever it happens. Ano yung sabihin nun? Number one is, of course, it's a wake-up call for us to really push for alternative sources of energy na hindi na tayo dapat nagiging dependent sa petroleum. Ongoing yan, di ba? Whether it is solar, geothermal, meron tayong natural gas na nagpapump in na galing sa Malampaya, may additional pa dyan, but we need to be able to fast track itong mga alternative sources of energy na ito kasi this is how we're able to thrive or survive this, no? And then pangalawa is really the creation of a petroleum reserve policy, di ba? So, kailangan din natin ng mag-imbak, may sarili ang gobyerno na para may pamamaraan para una, nasisigurado natin ang supply. And then pangalawa is yung supply na nakuha natin ay nabibili natin ng mura at naitatabi natin yan in case of any emergency. So really the direction is towards there. Is that how do you make the economy more resilient and part of that really is this is now our chance to really push for alternative source of energy, renewable, mga ganyan. Yan ang wake-up call natin.